must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. The best ever.
Welcome to the DL Boxing Podcast. I am your host, Coach D, along with co-host Bad Chaz and neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, where we talk about the sport you and I love, boxing. All right, guys, I want to welcome everybody to our first episode of the new year, 2023. Mm-hmm. We are very excited to get this underway this new year. We have big things ready for you guys to enjoy. How you guys feeling, man?
Great. Excellent, man. Excellent.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm glad to have you guys back on board, and it's been a minute, right? Let's get you guys caught up on the fights, and let's do our fight recap. All right, guys, let's recap the last fight of 2022, which featured WBA super flyweight Joshua the Professor Franco taking on WBO super flyweight champion Kazuto Ioka in Japan, guys. And shout out to Mikey Garcia for going live with this fight. And we were able to watch it a little past midnight. We're up there staying up and watching Franco do his thing on Ioka, man. Mm-hmm. So from our perspective, or Mikey's perspective, it looked like Franco really did his thing, right? Overwhelmed Ioka with a barrage of punches, sticking his jab out, really touching him to the body and to the head. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, how'd you see that, man, from our perspective that night?
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. I feel like Franco took the fight to Ioka. Right. You know what I mean? He brought the pressure, you know what I mean? He stayed consistent on that jab. You know, he kept backing up Ioka time and time again.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Right. He forced Ioka to fight.
He did.
So, I mean, without Franco, you know, putting that pressure and getting off first, Ioka would have just kind of been stagnant most of the fight. And I thought that Franco did his thing, man. I thought he won a clear decision, and, you know, the judges seen it different. But I gave Franco the nod on that one, man.
Right. Yeah, and I agree. Franco and Ioka fought to a majority draw. One judge had it in favor of Franco, and the other two judges had it as a draw, which was really surprising. And Mikey Garcia, you know, he spoke out on his live feed, you know, calling BS to that. I had scored an 8-4 on that initial live Instagram live fight that Garcia provided for us, but I was like, you know what? Let's watch it again on a broadcast version, right? And we were able to find it on YouTube. Bad Chaz, what are your impressions after watching it that way?
Oh, you know what? Just Franco, he was able to keep up the same momentum from the beginning of the fight till the end of the fight, and he took that fight the entire way to him, and it just seemed like, you know, he was able to kind of deliver more of the power and kind of sit down in his punches better. And his opponent, you know, he did a good job, you know, kind of landed some good, clean shots. But I think that the power, and I give the edge to Franco.
And I agree. After watching the broadcast version, you know, I did see a little bit more of Ioka was implementing. And he did sneak in some good body punches and straight right hands. But I think Joshua, like a true champion, won the 11th and 12th rounds definitively. Leaving no doubt. You know, if anything, maybe it made a 7-5 fight, but still, Franco was a clear winner and should be unified super flyweight champion. Do you agree on that?
And now that you say that, they gave the last rounds to Ioka,
which is
clearly
absurd.
Joshua Franco, you know, won that fight.
Oh yeah.
And since Ioka got the last few rounds, that's how it was able to, you know, go to a draw.
Yeah.
But it was just a robbery in my opinion. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of like questionable things too. I mean, if you look at that, the gloves they were using, the commission. I mean, it's kind of one of those.
In Japan.
Nothing was in Franco's favor.
Yeah, it was in favor of the Japanese Ioka. It seemed like
kind of the chance, you know, you take, I guess, in that situation.
Right.
But I mean, what do you guys think?
Just credit to Franco for making that fight happen.
Right.
Man.
Congratulations to Joshua Franco, because he was gracious in this dubious draw.
Yeah.
You know, still giving his shout outs to the Ioka's team, and, you know, being very sportsmanlike in this decision. But, you know, congratulations to Joshua Franco.
Yes, man.
It was a great performance. And where do you guys see Joshua Franco going from here?
I want to see him. Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to see
here in the States, maybe.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't think they'll
maybe a different commission. You know,
I don't think they'll go back to Japan. That's for sure, right?
Yeah,
I would love to see that too. You know, him earn that title that he should have earned back on that night. But we'll see what happens, and we'll be there to watch you, Franco.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, congrats, brother.
Congratulations.
All right, guys. All right, let's move on to the Showtime pay-per-view. Which showcased Gervonta Tank Davis, his return. But let's look at the undercard, all right? Surprising fight. We had Roiman Villa earn a majority decision over previously unbeaten Rashidi Ellis, guys. This was the shocker of the night, right? You had Rashidi Ellis showcasing his slick boxing, right? Using his back foot, making Villa come forward and miss, a lot of the times. Yeah. But what happens around the 9th round, Bad Chaz, Ellis starts to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of fatigued, you know what I mean? He kind of lost a little bit of gas.
He did.
In the tank, you know what I mean? And he was winning that fight on points. You know, he had the rounds.
Villa was relentless, right? Yeah. Kept coming forward, and eventually he caught him, right?
Yeah, he caught him. What he knocked him down? 2-3 times?
2 times in the 12th round with the left hook, beautiful left hook. And that's what these pressure fighters do, right? They never give up, man.
Right.
If they're able to take the punch, they're gonna keep to their guns, to their strategy. Like, I'm gonna catch this guy. And eventually in the 12th round, Villa caught up to Ellis. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, how'd you see that, man?
Yeah, you know what? Villa just broke him down. He finally broke him down, and he capitalized on a couple big mistakes that Ellis did, and that was dropping his hands. He was just getting lethargic in there. You know what I mean? And he kind of fell asleep a couple different times, and Villa never did. He kept pressuring, kept sticking to that game plan, and he got the job done.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to say because I had the fight actually leaning towards Ellis, but for him to come on strong like that towards the very end, I mean, God, much respect to him, man.
Right, only because we're used to the underdog not getting that nod,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You had an unbeaten, fighter in Ellis, who's promoted by Showtime, or he has good promotion behind him.
Right.
Usually these fights go to that fighter, even if they're close. And I thought Ellis should have got the nod, but
it's close.
But it just surprised me, like, oh wow, Villa won, man. Yeah. So, but it was exciting, man. It was just a classic, come forward puncher versus boxer.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, man. When you can't break the will of the charging fighter, man, that he's going to be in your face all night.
Yeah. And then you hit him with everything and it just doesn't break the guy. He just keeps coming.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? You know what I mean? Just mentally,
you start
just
mentally
drained.
doubting yourself.
Exactly.
You got hit with that left hook and his legs gave out on him, and there you go. That produced that exciting 12th round. But by all means, congratulations to Roiman Villa. Job well done.
I think that'll be a good rematch too.
That's right.
Yeah, I'd like to see
I
that.
would like to see that too. Absolutely. All right, guys, let's move on to the next fight. We had Jaron Boots Ennis earn a unanimous decision over Karen Chukhadzhian. Man, Chukhadzhian had some legs on him. Bad Chaz, what'd you think, man?
I mean, he took me by surprise. I was, looking forward to watching Jaron Boots Ennis perform. I mean, he's kind of a prospect that has a big name and has a lot of good skills, to bring to the sport.
Yeah.
But I mean, Karen, he showed up to work that night because I mean, he seemed like he used that ring to his advantage, and a lot of times you've seen Ennis kind of throw these punches and just miss.
Hit air,
just
had him
air.
turning around, hitting air.
Yeah.
Like, where do you go?
And what better way to kind of defeat your opponent than to make him swing and miss?
Right. And that you can see visually frustrated Boots Ennis. So what do you think, neighborhood hero Ryan?
Yeah, I thought he was frustrated. And that Karen, honestly, I felt like he was just looking to survive. You know what I mean? And when you're expecting that big shot, you know what I mean? You have that chance to brace yourself for it. And he got hit with some big shots, but he was expecting it, so it never hit him flush. It never caught him off guard, but that footwork was incredible.
It was incredible, man.
But Karen, the smaller fighter, smaller reach, he was able to land some really clean counters.
He did, right? And which the announcers just lacked commenting on it, which bugged me a little bit. Like,
you're right
guys,
about that.
Let's be fair a little bit, man.
Yeah, they were speechless.
Yeah, right.
At times,
oh, nothing happened, but we're like, did you just see him give him an angle and hit Boots clean? Yeah. So that was the only thing I did not like about that fight was the biased commentating, if you will. But Jaron Boots Ennis, he did his thing, man. I mean, you can see he got frustrated, but he still, obviously he landed more punches. He was in command, if you will. After the fight, you could tell he was eager. He's eager to get back into the ring as soon as possible, right? Like nobody wants to win like that, right? I mean, have someone with great footwork just make you follow him around and at times make you miss and kind of feel like, oh man, this is kind of embarrassing a little bit. But Boots Ennis, I'm sure he'll be back and back in the KO column, and I see him doing big things this year, man.
Yeah, for sure.
He surely has the talent to do so. Congratulations, Jaron Boots Ennis, man. All right, guys, let's move on to the main event of that evening, and that was a return of Gervonta Tank Davis defending his WBA secondary title against Hector Luis El Androide Garcia, who was undefeated coming into the fight. And boy, was it was a nice fight, man. It was a nice technical fight.
Right.
What'd you think, Bad Chaz?
You know what? It was just like you said. It was a pretty technical fight. Kind of took Tank a little time to kind of figure out some angles that he needed to kind of open up for himself to kind of I guess complete the fight and get the victory.
It seems like he kind of observes his opponent and you know, kind of sees what they bring to the table and breaks them down. You know, as the rounds go by. But boy, what a chin did Hector Luis Garcia have, right?
Yeah. Amazing chin. And you know what? He had some good counters on it. He had Tank with some good shots. And Tank has a good chin too. But man, it just seemed to me like you said, Tank was just getting that information, downloading it, and then just whenever he wanted, he picked up that pressure, dude, and got him out of there pretty easily, I thought. It seemed like he could do that whenever he wants.
And you can tell when he turns it up, his punches are so fast, crisp, and
hard,
you can see the power behind him, hear the power behind him. It's just amazing. The only thing is, like, he kind of loses a little bit of focus while in the ring. That I noticed, like, he starts turning out, you know, looking outside the ring. He did that against Barrios and maybe in some other fights too. But I've noticed that, and even his corner's like, hey, what are you looking at, man? Like, that's the only thing. Like, you know, you got to focus. You know, it is boxing. One punch could end the fight.
But maybe that's how he feels comfortable in there. He feels relaxed. Maybe, you know what I mean? And that's where he needs to be at. Maybe he was in a good place. It's hard to say, but yeah, he definitely gets distracted in that ring.
To say the least, right?
Yeah,
I've never seen that before. You know, so often, I guess, if you will. So the 8th round comes. Hector Luis Garcia is having a little bit of success, right? Hitting Tank, and then all of a sudden there's a brawl outside the ring.
Yeah.
And Tank notices it, like he always does, right? He's noticing what's going on outside the ring. And he takes a couple steps back and, you know, kind of tells the ref, you know, hey, there's something going on. And the ref, sure enough, takes a halt to the bout, right? For what seemed like, 2-3 minutes?
Yeah, almost in a round.
So I don't know if I read something like, oh yeah, that really killed the momentum for Garcia. You know, it's one of those you know things to to talk about. But I don't know, how'd you see that, man? That break in that fight.
You know what? I don't know. It's hard to say because I felt like both fighters got to rest. You know, they got to maybe figure some things out in their head, but I don't know. I don't know who it was in favor of. I mean, is that when Tank stepped it up after that?
So Tank steps it up, and that's when we see the velocity and the power, and eventually hits Garcia with the left hook that just kind of crumbles him, right? And he goes in for the finish. Garcia goes back to the corner, Bad Chaz, and what's wrong with him, man?
Yeah, he had like a something wrong with his vision. He claimed one of his eyes was
right.
blurred.
You couldn't see, his right eye. Yeah, imagine getting hit so hard, brother, that your vision goes, man. That's pretty scary. I mean, and you're still conscious. You know, I don't know how conscious he was, but at least conscious enough to say, hey, I can't see out of my right eye, man. So that's, you know, for him to call it. I mean, that's proper. I mean, I thought that was good. I mean, that's just dangerous to hear somebody's vision go out, and you don't want to take any further punishment, but it was exciting for as long as it lasted. Man, Gervonta Tank Davis, I'm sure we'll talk about him and his future plans a little later, but congratulations to Gervonta Tank Davis on the TKO 9 win over Hector Luis Garcia. All right, guys, well, it's fight week. All right, guys. Well, we're going to preview the DAZN card this Saturday from the AO Arena in Manchester. For us here, it'll start around 10 a.m. And that fight that we're going to preview is Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Beefy Smith. Quite a crossroads of a fight. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios. How do you see that, man?
You know what? I think I'm leaning towards Eubank. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think Liam still has some fight in him, but I know he's going up in weight. And that might just be the factor right there. Yeah. Eubank looks good right now, man.
Prime, fast.
He does. Yeah. He looks hungry too. I just don't see Smith handling that power and just that pressure of Eubank. So I'm leaning towards Eubank, maybe 8th, 9th round by
stoppage.
Yeah, by stoppage.
Yeah. That Chaz, any chance Liam Smith could pull off a surprise?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a chance.
He's always gritty, right? Yeah. He's always
he has probably a little more of recent activity over Eubank, but I would probably give Eubank the nod, I guess, in this situation. Just like you said, him kind of moving up in weight might have an impact on transferring that power into
Smith's, his whole everything, right? His stamina and everything. Yeah, and I agree. I agree with the neighborhood hero. I think Eubank will use his speed, his size advantage, and stop him around 8th, 9th round. What do you think on the outcome of this fight?
Yeah, that or they'll let it go to the judges and it'll be unanimous.
Yeah. So we're all in agreement. Eubank should be able to pull this fight and beat Liam Smith to advance in his career. Catch that on DAZN, guys. It should be quite a dandy fight.
Yeah,
I mean, not too shabby. Not too shabby. All right, guys. Well, let's move on to the next segment. The topic for this segment is social media influencing today's fighters for the best or the worst? What are some of the pros and cons of social media? Now, I know social media came onto the scene around 2005 with Facebook. Instagram is the big one that debuted in 2010. So no matter what, I mean, it's controlling our lives, right? It's something that
it's not going anywhere.
Right. It's not going anywhere. A lot of people just use it, obviously, day in and day out. Yeah. So fighters of today have no choice but to be part of this social media world, if you will. So how does that impact their career? Pros and cons. Some pros, Chaz. What do you think?
You know what? I think it's a great marketing tool. You know what I mean? They can kind of build their own brand and kind of advertise their skills, from an early point in their career. You know what I mean? Like, I think that has a huge benefit to it. That a lot of that the athletes didn't have in the past, I guess. Like they didn't have that advantage. Like that just their information kind of came out, in the newspaper or something from like their local high school. That's one of the things I can think of. Yeah, well,
it is good from a fan perspective where we get insight on their training camps, right? Even from day one, whereas in the old days, like I used to watch boxing on HBO, right? Say, for example, watching Chavez versus Taylor. The only insight I got into their training camps was the segment right before the fight aired, right? The little 10, 15-minute segment that they would do to hype up the fight before you watched it, right? So in today's social media, we are able to see them from day one training camp, right? And many aspects of their training, running the road work in the gym, eating what their diet is. Neighborhood hero Ryan Reels, you have a pro or a con?
You know what? I just see more pros than anything. Okay. You know what I mean? And it depends on the fighter's maturity level, because it depends on how mature they are, and if they're at that level, I mean, it's a great tool to have. You know what I mean? It builds that fan base. It gets you to network with other people. You know what I mean? It's just a great tool to have if you can handle it. You know what I mean? I mean, the ones that are still kind of like focused on making a name for themselves and trying to establish that credibility, there might be some cons in that, because they might listen too much to the comments. They might feel like, people are critiquing them too much, and they might say stuff that's not politically correct, and it might hurt their career. So, I mean, you have to be very careful with it. There's got to be a team looking out for you, man, because you can't just do or say whatever you want on that thing, because it could haunt you for the rest of your life.
Sure, man, for sure. They'll pull up something you said from 10 years ago or whatever, the case.
It's like good news travels fast, but bad news travels faster.
Exactly.
Right. A con that I can think of, and I was telling you guys earlier, when they're training, man, they post a lot of like, oh, look at me, I'm running, or, I'm hitting this or that. Could that be potentially influence their training, going into a fight for the worse? Is that possible? I mean, it's a possibility, right? That's the thing I could see. Like, man, that are they really focused? Or are they half of their mind is like, oh, I can't wait to post this on social media. A lot of the things too is maybe I don't know. Like I said, I've watched boxing a long time where we weren't privy to their personal life. Maybe a lot of it demystifies them for me, like. Oh, of course, they're normal people like you and I, but, they're doing this insane sport of boxing. But sometimes showing a lot of their daily lives can maybe put you off a little bit. I don't say that in a negative way, but kind of like, all right. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of any cons. But, I think there's more pros to it. Just you hit it right on the, on the head as far as the maturity level. Right? Because if you're not mature, it's going to come back to haunt you. But on the flip side of that coin, Chaz, how about like Ryan Garcia, all these fighters that have popular social medias? Is that a way that they negotiate fights now?
Oh,
and it could be for the worst, like, well, look at me, I have this many followers. And could it be that some fights aren't made because of that? What do you think?
I think that it's worked in Ryan Garcia. I mean, he's the master of it. He's getting ready to land a pay-per-view fight with Tank Davis, and I mean, he doesn't have any belts to bring to the table, and he's managing to get a pay-per-view fight based on the followers that he's established for himself. I mean, that's kind of like great for him, but I mean, for the guys that have worked their way all the way to the top without that, or that actually have belts that they've won fights, and I mean, that's how I see it.
I guess the point, maybe in the negative, could it have maybe halted some fights from actually happening by having this ego of, look at me on social media, this is how much I bring to the table. Yeah. I mean, I guess, and it is the world we live in, so I guess it is what it is. I can't help to think about, Spence, Crawford, thankfully those fights will be made this year. But yeah, it's just interesting to think about fighters from now and in the future that their careers will be intertwined with social media, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just an interesting topic. And I don't know, tell us what you guys think, man. Comment down below. Is it a pro? Is it a con? Anything you can think of that, you let us know, and we would love to hear your opinions on that, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, let's move on to our last segment of this episode, and that is the current events in boxing. All right, guys. Well, let's look at the current events. Sources indicate that David Benavidez will face Caleb Plant on March 25th at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. March 25th, guys. What does that interfere with?
Jose Ramirez, man.
Yeah. Right, Jose Ramirez.
The hometown
Kobe.
hero.
Right, it's the same day, right?
Yeah.
March 25th. Oh, man. We're like, oh, man.
Yeah.
What do we do?
We'll definitely be at that fight, but at the same time, I mean, shoot, hopefully we can take in an iPad or something and a Bluetooth speaker.
Right,
because
man. Right, split screen and stuff. Yeah. That's a huge, that's probably the first big fight of 2023 that we're going to actually get to see, and I'm pretty excited about this one. What about this fight intrigues you, Batchaz?
Oh, you know what? That these guys have just been talking back and forth with each other about this
rivalry
fight for a long time, and anymore, when you get something like that, it's these fights, they don't get made. And this one did. And it just, it gives me something to look forward to.
For sure. Yeah, it's a big fight. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios. I'm sure we'll talk about this, come March time and, during that episode. But what are your initial feelings of this fight, man?
Man, I can't wait. You know what I mean? Like, we've been waiting for this fight. It's one of those fights that you're like, man, what if? You know what I mean? And now it's going to happen. You know what I mean? And I'm a big Benavidez supporter. I love the Benavidez camp. I won't make a prediction quite yet. But you guys all know who I'm going for, and man, I can't wait. Both fighters are at their prime. When do you guys ever see? I mean, you guys don't see it very often. Two fighters at their prime, and is it for a belt? It's
no. It's just a rivalry in the super middleweight division. Okay. Good question. It is a fight where they each have something to prove, right? Right? They've all been wanting that chance at Canelo Alvarez. This is the fight, man. This is the fight where you prove your worth, that you are elite and ready to rock and roll with the best of them, right? So that's what's exciting about this fight, and can't wait for it, man. Can't wait.
Exactly.
Do you think that so the winner of Benavidez Plant, do you think that whoever wins that fight makes them great, or they still got to beat Canelo to be considered great?
No, it's too early. Yeah, they would have to beat Canelo and then make some defenses and maybe even move up to 175. Yeah, so the winner and whoever it is that's going to just extend their career, I'm sure that's going to be their track, right, to become undisputed at that super middleweight, maybe go up to 175 and continue. Maybe.
But I'm thinking too, like the winner. I mean, if they don't get Canelo, I mean, they could probably get Charlo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
and so like the winner,
that's another legacy
their stock
fight.
is just going to keep going up.
As long as they fight the names, that's good on them, man. Yeah, and that's what the fights that we want to see too. Absolutely. Well, we can't wait for that one, guys. All right. In other news, a big one too here. We have Naoya, the Monster Inoue, who just became undisputed bantamweight champion, vacated all his belts. This is at 118 pounds. He moves up north to 122 pounds, bantamweight division. He's looking for challenges, right? Which is a sign of a great fighter, which is well respected. Good on him. And he's looking to fight Stephen Fulton, man, at 122. Fulton, superb fighter, undefeated. I believe he has 2 belts in that division. So this is a big fight that that the fans are just going to cherish. They're saying that it could be made sometime late spring in Japan. which would be big, man.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting. I mean, what do you think
that's
about
another
that, man?
big fight, man.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Everybody's big on Stephen Fulton right now.
Yeah, right.
And then Anui, you know how big he is already.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's going up in weight.
Yeah,
And there's
that's
always
gonna be
that question mark.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people can take their more power punches. You know
Right.
what I mean? And is his power going to carry? I mean, but Anui's just a beast,
He's
man.
a
He's on
beast, man.
another level, man. And this is just going to be a crazy,
It's gonna be-
amazing fight.
It's going to be fun to
Fireworks,
find out, right?
man,
Find
yeah.
out just how great Inoue is, because like you said, Stephen Fulton is just an incredible boxer. He's like the boxer's boxer. Like they like, when it's like who do you watch? Like even I believe even Scrappy Ramirez had mentioned Stephen Fulton. Bad Chaz. Do you think what is something that Stephen Fulton having Inoue come up? What do you think is something that he's going to want to prove?
You know what I mean? That just that's his division,
Right,
That
absolutely.
you know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
a guest here,
Right? Imagine,
what I mean?
yeah. Oh, you're gonna challenge
Yeah.
me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a pretty exciting fight. Hopefully, it gets made late spring.
Yeah, and you know what? With Anui too, I don't feel like he needs these tests going up on. I mean, these like these not tune-up fights, but these like
Right, to test
doesn't
the waters
need
in
to-
the
yeah,
division.
he doesn't
Nah,
need to
he
make
needs
a
to go
name
after
for himself.
top
Yeah, it's like
dogs.
Errol
Yeah.
Spence, right? No
Yeah.
tune-ups. Just give me the guy
Yeah,
with
go
the belt.
after him, man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Why put
Yeah.
the mileage on yourself? You know what I mean?
Right.
Just go
You're
straight
gonna
to
you're
him.
gonna work out just as hard,
Yeah.
and you got the talent. Well
Yeah.
said, man. Exciting times. All right, guys. In other event news, we have super middleweight Edgar Berlanga separating ways with Top Rank. Interesting news. At one point, Top Rank was really promoting Berlanga as the next great Puerto Rican.
Right.
He was headlining these shows in New York, but the last 3-4 fights, he's kind of faltered in a way. He's won, but by decision, right? He started off his career with 16 straight KOs, and man, everybody thought he was another monster, right?
Yeah, first round too.
Yeah, first round, all in the first round. You're right. But then in his last fight, Bad Chaz, he had an incident where he did something quite despicable, actually.
Yeah, he. I guess he bit his opponent's ear.
Or attempted to, right? Yeah, you can
And he
see
admitted to it, too.
He admitted, right? He bit his neck or something, or somewhere. Yeah. I don't know. Do you think that along with not performing well, Top Rank had second thoughts?
Yeah, and also him just thinking he's already larger than life already. You know, the way he carries himself. And it's good to have that confidence.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you don't ever want to bite the hand that feeds you either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to have respect and you want to go in there and be humble at the same time. You're with Top Rank, one of the best promotional companies ever. You know what I mean? And I just felt like he didn't carry himself the way they wanted him to in that ring. And I think that has a big thing to do with them cutting ways as him, the way he acted in that last fight.
I think so
man.
too. Yeah. I mean,
We were all disgusted with that.
we
man.
don't. Yeah, as a big a promoter that Top Rank is, you don't want to be associated with someone that bites someone in the ring, and then I'm sure a lot of things went in. They discussed, and then they went their own way. But Berlanga now is a free agent, so he could do or choose what pleases him. So this way he can move on with his career. I mean, the kid, he's still young.
Yeah.
I mean, the future can still be bright.
Right.
And as long as he has a good team around him,
Exactly.
he could move forward and prove all the naysayers wrong, right?
Right.
Yeah. So good luck, Edward Berlanga.
Yeah,
Wish
good
you
luck
all
with
the
you,
best,
man.
brother. All right, guys. In the last news that we have for you guys, well, everybody saw Oscar De La Hoya holding a contract supposedly with Ryan Garcia pointing to it, and that is to tell us all that Ryan Garcia will be facing Gervonta Tank Davis April 15th. Tentatively is the date. Got us all excited.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? It's gonna go through?
Oh man, see there's a big if right there.
Even though they're
But,
still holding. Yeah. Right.
But I mean, God, dude, that's a mega fight.
Yeah.
And it's not even for a belt. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's
just a huge following for both fighters, man. They're both great.
Like when we talked about social media,
Yeah.
you guys are the
Yeah.
pinnacle. They're like the like what Jake Paul has. Kind of that following, but they're actual
Yeah.
superstar, great, great talented boxers.
Right.
So they have best of both
Yeah.
worlds, man.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And it has the potential to break records, man,
Yeah.
if they
Yeah.
promote it right. What are we here? January, February, March, April. Yeah, they got to start promoting now. Bad Chaz, what's your initial thoughts on that fight?
You know what? I mean, I just hopefully they're not teasing us. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
right.
I just
Come on,
want to
guys.
make sure that it's locked in and we
Yeah.
get to see it, because I mean, you start you start just thinking about this fight and how it's going to play out and stuff. And I mean, you're going to invest your thought and your energy into it. And then to find out that, so-and-so backed out and you took a fight with who? With some no-name, you know? And I don't want to hear it go in that direction. But super excited. Just thinking about what each guy's going to bring to the table, you know what I mean, that night. What's your guys' thoughts? How do you feel about it?
I'm super excited. Like you said, I'm super excited. I hope they don't pull the rug under us again. But I can't help think of like, who has the advantages, and right away I'm already thinking of Ryan Garcia's size, his jab, his speed, fast hands with KO power. Neighborhood hero Ryan Reels, that poses a problem for the shorter Tank Davis, right?
You know what? I think Ryan has more advantages, but again, it's all that game plan. You know what I mean? Right. Like you gotta train for that opponent. You got to study him. I mean, this is going to be a chess match for sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean, if I was Ryan's coach, I would use that length, that speed, that power, and get an early lead on Tank, and then just try to maintain that lead towards. Don't do anything crazy the last 3 or 4 rounds, because that's when Tank comes in strong.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean, I think I have a good game plan for him. You know what I mean? But again, it's just me. Yeah. But I'm like wasting that energy already.
I know, right? You can't help it, right? As big fight fans, that's a great game plan. I mean, why not even tie him up, right? I'm thinking like Tank Davis, he has that. He's small and powerful, kind of like a Mike Tyson in a way. A lot of people that had success against Mike is by tying them up, right? Doing their offensive and then tying them up.
Getting them frustrated.
Yeah. So
who promotes that fight?
It's going to be Golden Boy,
it's going to be
and Eddie.
Showtime.
Al Heyman. There you go.
With the DAZN Golden Boy.
Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous. Man.
something crazy. If we're not mistaken.
What do you think it's going to be? Vegas? Or?
It probably will be Vegas,
so,
right?
Man.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah, but that's the early information we got on that fight. We hope it goes through, guys. Please don't yank our chain again. This year seems to be like the year that we finally get the fights that should have been made, some time back. All right, guys, that was the current events in the world of boxing. All right, guys, well, that concludes our podcast. It's shout out time. Who do you want to shout out, Bad Chaz?
You know what? Nicholas Bose from Jackson
That's
Boxing
right.
Gear. Just want to give him a shout out for the merchandise, the boxing gloves there, and the t-shirts that we received.
Yeah, amazing apparel.
Thanks, man.
Stunning gloves. Thank you, Nicholas Bose. Man, we greatly appreciate you, man. And, I hope you're proud to see your product here on our podcast, right? Neighborhood Hero Ryan Reels.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Top-notch quality, huh?
Jackson Gear.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Who else do we want to shout out, man?
You know what? I'll give a shout out to 2 real ones, man, from San Antonio, Texas. And that's Bad Boy Visuals and Rick the Boxer.
Yeah.
And you know what? When I always think of San Antonio, man, I think of the Spurs or the Alamo.
Right.
But right now, man, that boxing scene's just pumping, man.
Right.
They're fire hot right now, and these are 2 guys. That's a reason why these 2 guys are pumping that that sport up right now and it's exciting time in San Antonio right now, man.
Right.
Yeah. Lastly, I want to say a shout out to the And Still podcast. Thank you guys for motivating us. We were talking to one of the both of them, and really great guys, man.
Cool
really
cats,
great,
man.
cool cats. We're all in this game, trying to build up the sport of boxing to utmost, as best as we can. And and it's good to have these friends, to be able to talk to and share ideas and talk boxing with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Definitely shout out to all our viewers. Thank you guys for continuing to support us. Cameraman Liam, sound guy Rob.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. We are looking forward to having big things for you guys this year. Man, and thank you so much. Anybody else we missed?
No,
we're good. We're good to go. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of the year from the DL Boxing Podcast. With that said, I am Coach D, along with Bad Chaz and neighborhood hero Ryan Reels, and we'll see you guys next time.